Hello, welcome to Wimbledon. Right, this evening, it is evening, I'm going to make some sauerkraut. As you can see, I've got a load of vegetables from like a food sharing group that I belong to, and I've got too much to be able to use all at once. So what I'm going to get is this red cabbage, and I'm going to make sauerkraut. Now, sauerkraut's a great way of preserving your vegetables, your cabbages. It works a lot with all kinds of different vegetables, but cabbages especially. And what we're going to do is, I'll show you what we're doing and I'll just talk you through it. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take off the bits I don't want, and I'm going to slice it very, very thinly. So go through the middle of it, and I'm going to take out this hard bit in the middle. There. And I'm not going to throw that away. I love the design you get on these. It's great, isn't it? It looks amazing, doesn't it? I've got two cameras going, so that's why I'm looking over there and I'm looking over here. So yeah, one of the reasons that I'm making sauerkraut is, one, obviously to show you how to make sauerkraut, and two, I've got to use it up, and I'll not get through all those vegetables. There's only 3 of us live in this house, and we won't eat all of those in a couple of days that they're going to go off. It's also extremely good for you. What actually happens with when you make sauerkraut is it actually ferments. So we're going to add salt to it. Anyway, before I go too far into that, I'm just going to slice it thinly, like this. You come in and have a little closer look, Ben. You can see how Ben's on the camera today. Hello, Ben.
Hello.
Hello, Ben. And so what I'm doing is just slicing it nice and thin. It doesn't want to be too... You don't have to be too precious about it, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, I'm just going to do that. And as you can see, I've got the scales there in the background. I've got some flavourings. I've got some fennel seed and some dill. And I've also got one of these, what are they called? Kilner jars, that kind of thing. And we're going to use that to actually do the fermentation in. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw the cabbage in there for now. And we're going to weigh it, because we need to know how much salt we need to add. Okay, so I'm just going to continue chopping. Now, the reason that lacto fermentation is so good, it actually increases the bioavailability of the nutrients in the cabbage for you. Your body can actually use the nutrients better, and it's actually a very high excellent source of calcium, magnesium, vitamin C, vitamin K. It's also excellent source of dietary fibre, folate, so obviously it's good for pregnancy, for pregnant women, early in pregnancy. Apparently folic acid is we seem to have a deficiency. You see a lot of women taking folic acid when they become pregnant, but this is a good way to get it in. Also iron, which is obviously good for the blood, potassium, which is helps the amino acids produce proteins in the muscles and all that kind of thing. Copper, manganese. So yeah, as you can see, I'm going at it a little bit quicker than I normally would, because I don't want this video to go on for too long. Just throw away the sort of leathery outside leaves, chop it down nice and small like that. Right, and it looks like I've got about, well, let's have a look. Right, so it's that simple. Just over 800 grams. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2% salt to that. So 2% of 800 is, so if it was 1%, it'd be 4 grams, 40 grams. Oh God, my maths isn't good. 10% would be 80 grams.
That's 160.
No, oh God. So it's 2% of 800. So it's 4.
1% of 800 is 8, so it's 16.
16 grams, there you go. There you go. So 16 grams of salt. Now I'm using this Himalayan pink salt. It's cheap as chips, but it still has, it's not been processed in any way, so it still has all its minerals in it. I say it's not been processed, of course it's been processed, everything's been processed. But so 16 grams, oh, that's far too much. Went way over the top there. 21 grams, it's not much. I'm not sure that's even right, you know, that doesn't look right for 16 grams. 17 grams. Tell you what, I'm just going to check that, because that doesn't seem right with that. Yeah, 16.3 grams, 16.4 grams, there or thereabouts. And so what I'm going to do, now this is going to hurt because I've got a few cuts and bruises on my hands. And I'm just going to sprinkle that onto the cabbage like that. And I'm going to rub it in. Oh, I need to add the fennel seed. Just going to add some fennel, like that, for flavour, and a little bit of dill as well, also for flavour. And so what will actually happen over the next few days is, a bit more like we like the dill, is the salt will set up something called a lacto fermentation, which actually feeds on the sugars in the vegetable and produces lactic acid, or lactic acid, which is fantastic for the body. It used to be thought that it was good for people who suffered from cramps, but that's kind of changed a little bit now. I'm only repeating stuff I've seen on, Wikipedia and that, so whether it's right, I don't know. I'm not a doctor, am I? But there you go. So I'm just going to do that. Just get that salt right in there, as it is in my cuts as well. Look at that. My hands are going red. Murder on the Orient Express or something. Just going to rub all that salt in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it for 15-20 minutes and allow this to start breaking down. So the salt will start feeding into those fibres and breaking it down. Hopefully that jar's going to be big enough. Otherwise, we're going to be eating some salted cabbage this evening before it's even lacto fermented, which is fine. We'll just cook it as if we were having cabbage. But yeah, it's a dirty old job, but someone's got to do it. Sorry, I'm knocking this cupboard in front of me with my leg as I'm doing this. And you can see it's beginning to, the salt is actually beginning to, you can see the liquid beginning to come out of that now. And so that's what the salt's going to do. It's going to break the fibres down, break the sugars down, and then the lacto fermentation, which will take a few weeks, will produce the classic sauerkraut taste. Obviously with the red cabbage, it's slightly different, because it's slightly different flavour with the red cabbage. Not much, but a little bit. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So that is pretty much step one. So I'm going to stop for 5 minutes, and we'll come back in 5 minutes, or 10 minutes, 15 minutes, once this has started to actually break down. See you in a second. Right, it's about 10 minutes later now, and look at my hands. I've been washing my hands whilst I've been waiting, and you can see this is actually much more relaxed now. You can see the moisture that's on it as it's beginning to break down, and if I squeeze it, you'll actually get some moisture out. Let me see if I can get a bit of moisture out of that for you. There you go, and that's just perfect. So this, I just wanted to show you this as well. This is some cucumbers we grew last year. Which is, I don't really want to pick it up because I'll get dye all over it. So this is cucumbers that we bought last year, that we didn't buy last year, we grew them last year, and these have been lacto fermented. Slightly different way of doing it, and as the year goes by we'll grow more cucumbers, and I'll show you how we do those ones. But yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pack this jar full of the cabbage now. I'll try not to get it everywhere because it's going to dye everything, isn't it? It is literally going to dye everything. There we go. Yeah, it's going everywhere anyway, isn't it? Okay. And as I get towards the bottom of the bowl, if you just look in here, Ben, you can actually see the liquid. Obviously, we'll pour that in at the end. But just going to make sure it's packed well in there, like that. Okay. Pretty much there now. So yeah, you see that one cabbage, it's breaking down slowly. Okay, and then we put look how vibrant that colour is. That's amazing. Okay, and then we're just going to put that in there. Now what I am going to do, because it's not produced as much liquid as I was expecting, is I am going to add a little bit more liquid. So I've got some water in the Brita filter there. I'm just going to add enough so that it just sits above it there, like that. You see that now? And that is pretty much it. Now, ideally you want the it needs to stay below the level of the water, but what's going to happen over the next few hours, that liquid is just going to sort of be pulled out of the cabbage anyway, and it'll sink itself into it. Look at the mess. Wow, I'm going to have to clear all this up. So that's pretty much that. So the reason I use these kind of jars is because they are what's called self-burping. So that rubber seal will allow a little bit of gas to escape from there. So what I'll do, I'll finish the video there. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, please. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so you know it doesn't cost you a penny to subscribe. So you know, just press the subscribe button. What I will do is in a few days I'll do an update video on this. Probably with some other bits and pieces that I've been doing, so it's sort of like a compendium. But anyway, yeah, that's the end of this one really. So there you go, lacto fermented sauerkraut. I mean, it is just sauerkraut, but it's the way you make a sauerkraut is through lacto fermentation. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again very soon. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.